Testing 1, 2, 3. Testing 1, 2, 3. Hey, hello gang. Thank you for joining me today. My name is Dan, and you have either stumbled upon or intentionally come to Daily Art Adventure number 657. Took me a long time to figure out, so what am I going to call this? I'm painting in a very organic manner, a little bit different for me. I'm doing several things all at the same time. I've listed it in there. Number one, I'm accentuating or re-accentuating, sometimes creating brand new abstract marks that you can see all over this painting. So that's one of the things I'm doing, abstracts. And in conjunction with that, often I'm doing broken color, but sometimes separate from that, I'm doing broken color. And thirdly, I'm still finishing, finalizing, or refining, whichever word you would prefer to use, the actual details of the drawing. So I'm doing all three of those, and I'm bouncing around quite a bit between those three again. So that's just a little bit unusual for the way I'm painting, the way I normally paint. Right when you came in, when I came on, when you came in, whichever way you want, I was doing some, I think it was essentially broken color, some pale green down here in the road. There was already some, and I decided to come back and do more. And it's sort of related to this completely abstract green streak, stroke, swoosh, whatever you want to call it. It comes down, starts very bright up there, you see, comes down and gets a little bit wider. I've been out here painting today for about 3 hours already without you, again, without your company. Can you believe that? The nerve of some people to paint without you. So, and I've essentially been doing just what I just described. I've essentially been doing that exact thing for 3 hours. That is, refining the drawing. There are still areas in the painting the drawing needs to be tightened or corrected. Speaking of corrected, by the way, and this is David Mercer, especially if you ever tune in, remember you pointed out that these yellow signs were too high. They were up here and I moved them down. Then I discovered this was too high, and the other day I said, but I don't have the energy to fix it. Well, I came back later that day after, getting away from it for a while. In fact, I redrew all of this. This used to be, let me zoom just for a minute so you can see what I'm talking about, just to let you know that I, in fact, did redraw it, and then had to redraw basically all of this section of the painting. All got redrawn, repainted, if you will, to make corrections. So here's one of the things I'm doing because, again, painting in what is for me a fairly unconventional manner. So I have green on my brushes. I'm pumping up the green, making it a little bit greener at the moment. Then I will look around for a couple of things now. Again, this being a new approach for me in painting, and if you wonder what that new approach is, just go back and watch some of my daily art adventures over the last week, and I've explained it quite a bit. The new thing is these abstract strokes coming through in the final painting more than it used to. So while I've got green on my brushes, I'm looking for places like that I can do completely fictitious broken color, but I'm also looking for places where I can accentuate or accent the abstract. So I'm doing a lot of different things all at the same time. Like I said, broken color, correcting, drawing, and then accenting the abstract. All right, I don't see anything more right now that calls me to paint green. So tell you what, without cleaning my brush, let's just shift around the color wheel a little bit and mix up now kind of a dirty aqua, dirty turquoise. I call a lot of things dirty when that just means it's not real high chroma, it's messed up. So dirty aqua. So let's see if there's anywhere yeah, some of these car windshields, not headlights, windshields. Some of these car windshields could do with some more green instead of, I got a little carried away with the blue on the car windows a while ago, so that's one of the drawing issues that needs to be corrected. Here's a good place for broken color. There we go. Ooh, that's nice. I'll do the same thing down here. It worked so well up there. Same thing there, broken color. I know I repeat myself all the time, but because there's new people might be coming in. What does broken color mean? Well, essentially it means putting down a color, and in my case it's completely fictitious color, arbitrary. It has nothing to do with realism. But I'm looking for areas, like what I have on my brushes right now is very much a mid-tone, probably a 4 or 5 on the range of a 10 value scale, 1 being white and 10 being black. Uh-oh, my phone is overheating. Can you believe that? Hang on just a second. Hang on, just let me bid you a fond adieu. All right, I think you're still there, I'm not sure. I'll find out shortly. Yeah, okay. Now what I'm doing with the same pale, dirty aqua green that's on my brushes, what I'm doing now is not broken color. I'm actually just drawing, doing details on the on the subject matter that needs to be refined. Okay, I was in the process though of trying to describe what is broken color, and it's same value, different color. So whatever color it is I have on my brushes, if I put this color, this dirty aqua down and a part of the painting that is much darker. That is like this. On that dark area of the tree, I can get away with it because it's green, so it's safe. Actually, I still don't like it. But that's not broken color. That's broken value. That's a jump in value. I'm going to add a whole bunch of white. So now I've got a very pale aqua. You know, it's a decorator color. They would call it dusty moss or something, something like that. I hate decorator color names. Sorry. It's a weakness of mine. Decorator colors, automobile colors, you know, the names that the marketers have to make up to name all these different, whether it's a new sofa or a new wall paint color or it's a new automobile paint color, those names that they make up. Sorry, it's like I said, it's an issue of mine. I think those are silly. They make me laugh. Anyway, that's what I've got on my brush right now. Is cosmic moss. No, that doesn't. Anyway, see, that's not my job to come up with. Okay, I'm just about tired of this color, this pale green. Ooh, that was a nice mark though. Right here. One of the tricks that I'm playing with, I'll describe this more as I go along, is I'm trying to make, much of the time, I'm making the abstract underpainting marks match the value of the painting. That's most obvious that I haven't done it here in the sky. For instance, here's a green streak, and I have on my brushes right now a much paler green. So I want to match or get close to matching the value of the blue that's right next to it. Let me zoom in here for just a second. Say way up there. Here's a real obvious example where the blue sky is, this green stroke is real pale, and where it goes into the dark building, it's a dark green. So that's what I mean by making the abstract. I'm not going to try to do that everywhere, but I've done it in quite a few places. Like this might be a good time then let's launch into something a little bit new. Let's try that in some of those abstract marks in the sky. Like maybe even this great big one here. So when I squint, I can see that this stripe is slightly darker than the blue sky. So I want to mix up a paler peach, pinkish peach color. And let's see if I can make it the same value as the, nope, still too dark. It's an easy fix. Add more titanium white. After I finish doing what I'm doing, which I certainly hope to do today, I had actually at one point unrealistically hoped that I could finish this last night, but I certainly did not have time to do that. After finishing all this that I'm doing today, that abstract, broken color, and drawing, I'll come back tomorrow and do fresh glazes over the entire. Okay, so does this make sense? I just lightened up this now pinkish, orangish pink streak that goes across the sky. My idea is if I took a black and white photograph of this, these two, the blue sky and the orange, pink-orange stripe would appear the same color gray. Does that make sense? Now, I am not, however, you'll see that I have left a lot of the details, of course, showing. There were some pencil lines in there and so on. In other words, I'm not going to plaster. That means cover up. In my language, to plaster is to put thick paint and cover it up. I'm not going to plaster this stuff. That would be very counter to what I want to do here. Oh, I just lost the light. Hang on. Plus, if I were to plaster any of these marks, they would then lay on top of the blue sky. And I don't know whether you can see this or not, or whether you can discern this or not, but almost all of these marks, everywhere, not just in the sky, all of these marks are underneath. In other words, I painted the blue up to these marks. The marks themselves are underneath. And in fact, somebody asked me the other day, couldn't you in a sense draw the image first and then do abstract on top of it? And the answer is no. Not an accomplish. I couldn't do that and accomplish a big part of my purpose here, which is for the abstract marks to clearly be underneath the image. Now they are indeed both underneath and on top of the image, the scene, the realistic painting. But it's the underneath part that is most important to me. Otherwise, they're just, I don't know, kind of fakey, phony, arbitrary. Let's do something stupid on top of it. Let's do a nice painting, then put marks on top of it. That would not. In fact, that's the one thing I worry about most about this new experiment that I've been doing the last couple weeks is, does it just look like a silly, arbitrary thing to do? Sort of adolescent art. Create kookiness for kookiness sake. Untethered creativity. Creativity without grounding in technique or thought. So that is indeed my biggest concern about this. Now, that's part of the reason I took my last painting. I took it to my painters group last Tuesday, a week ago tonight, and a room full of fairly serious painters and artistic people, and I received a pretty strong go-ahead vote of confidence from my friends, several of whom I trust very heavily, trust their counsel, their artistic counsel a lot. Anyway, so that is, I'm going to do the same thing here. I'll zoom in for a minute, which means I had better move my camera. Here's the deal, my camera can zoom all by itself, but if I use that function, then after a while I forget that I'm zoomed in, and then I go elsewhere and leave you guys in the dark. So I've learned that until I have somebody helping me produce the broadcast with me, I shouldn't do that. So I physically move the camera. Okay, so I'm doing same thing here that I just mentioned a little while ago up here with this other one. I want these stripes, but I don't want to cover up what's underneath. I just want to echo, perhaps you could say, what's underneath, but I want them to be lighter. I want them to be as light as the blue sky, or almost as light. Until I did that, they were considerably darker. Okay, I'm going to back you up again because I don't know where I'm going from there. So The kids have just arrived back home, so my peace and quiet, likely to be slightly less peaceful and quiet. That's all right. In the last couple of months, several months I'd say, I've become consciously aware of the fact that I don't like bubblegum pink as a color, and I don't particularly like lemon yellow, cad yellow, real intense, bright, light yellow. Cad yellow, lemon yellow, Hansa yellow, cad yellow light, and so forth. I don't particularly, this right here, this is broken color. So pink, bright yellow, and super intense aqua, turquoise aqua. Now that color I actually like quite a bit, but discovered that I virtually never use it in my paintings. So the way my brain works is, for an artist to have a color he or she doesn't like is a weakness. And so last couple months, hi, yeah, no, let her go, please. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, it's supposed to be going back forth. Okay, it's not going back forth. Was it? Oh. Okay. Hi, kids. So I've made it a point then, because what I said, that sort of not for an artist to quote unquote not like a color is completely unacceptable in my book. So I've made it a point to try to include some bubblegum pink and some pale, intense, bright aqua green, or turquoise you could call it, and intense yellow. That's just me. That's what some of the secrets, some of the silly little things that go on inside an artist's mind. At least this artist's mind. I can't speak for the others. I can think of a lot of comparisons. It would be sort of like somebody who arranges music for a living, like movie scores or game scores or something like that. Not liking, say, saxophones or something like that. That's just silly. That would be a counterproductive impulse. So I think the same way as an artist, silly. So I've really had fun then looking for excuses. So now I have a pretty bright and intense peach color. I get here. I'm into the decorator colors again. Pale pink orange color. Let me brush this. So I'm looking for places to use it. I just mentioned a while ago that um, I have a whole another layer to go on this painting yet, and that is a glaze over the whole thing. And I already have several ideas about what I'm going to do. One is, I think the sky down here, there's a lot of warm light here, but the sky is too blue for the warmth of the light hitting these buildings. So I'm going to warm this up. That is, add yellow orange to it. Of course, without it getting too much darker. I don't want it to be dark, so no doubt after doing a glaze on it, I'll come back and do some more opaque light on top of that. Yeah, let's do some purple or violet or lavender broken color. That's one of my favorite go-to colors, if you will. For a broken color, but I'll be using the purple for who knows what, many other things besides broken color. I'm using a razor to scrape off my glass palette. There is no such thing as a perfect palette solution. For the last 15 years, the glass palette has been my primary default tool, and I put it in the whoa, there's some lightning, I mean thunder, you know what I mean. After I'm finished painting, every session of painting, I put my glass palette in the freezer, and it'll stay good for quite a long time, at least a week. One time many years ago, I was doing a Frank Gavino method copy of a William Bouguereau painting, and I took about a 2-year break. The paint, I had everything on the whole painting. You can see this on my website, the painting somewhere. I forget now where it is. I think it's in portraits. You can see my William Bouguereau painting. I had everything done except the woman's face. You know, the most important element. Anyway, and my glass palette sat in our freezer for over 2 years with cellophane on it. So with a couple layers of cellophane. But over 2 years. When I finally got around to getting that paint back out of the freezer and finishing the painting, 90% of the pile of the paint was still good, with just a few little bits that had dried up. So there you go. 2 years in a freezer with cellophane or saran wrap over it. Just in case you're wondering, so how long can it last? I don't know, 2 years with saran wrap. Right now I'm doing dark purple straight with just with liquid in it, so I'm doing a dark transparent color. Creating a little mess here and there. Now I'm going to add some white to this, so then it will be a light, some kind of light purple. Let's start with a mid-range purple. And let's look. Do you like the way I use the third person plural? Us, we. We're going to look. Let us look now for places for broken color. Again, broken color has nothing to do with realism, okay? And some of you who are stuck in the realism hamster wheel, and some of you will never get out of it, and that's all right. Maybe that's your calling. You're put on the planet to keep on doing hyper-realistic stuff over and over. That's all right, that's all right. I'm not criticizing. I don't want to be you. I don't think it's the best way to paint, but there sure are a lot of people that do that their whole career, and some make way more money than I do. Anyway, but then there are more than that who do realism because they are sort of stuck personality-wise. They could stand to bust out of their self-imposed prison cell. Anyway, I don't want to make any of you feel bad about yourself. So pretend I'm not talking about you, okay? But there's something true about what I just said. There are some people who do super hyper realism, and it is a reflection of some other issues that are going on. You know, OCD-ish kind of things. And maybe hyper-realistic painting is some of the best therapy they've got. So I certainly wouldn't want to take it away from them. But for the rest of you, I would encourage you to bust out of the hyper-realistic prison if you can. If you can't, don't worry about it. All right. So there's a bunch of medium purple, and I'm going to add more white, so I'm really going to have a very, very definitely a lavender pale, very pale purple now on my brushes. And I'm going to be looking for considerably lighter areas where I can insert some interesting spots of again, this has nothing to do with realism, okay? This is pure abstract painting. Just color for fun color's sake, that's all. I see a lot of good chats down there. I look forward to reading those in just a bit. Wow, you know what, this whole, anything that's gold, yellow, orange-ish is a good candidate for this pale purple, because they're complementary colors. They're opposite ends of the color wheel. Here comes some kiddos. Not too happy kiddos, sounds like. That happens. Oh yeah, right here. There. Oh, a little bit too dark. Let me thin it a little bit. Fun. So I don't know how exciting this is. I'm not sure how much you can see. Most of the marks I'm doing are so small and rather subtle. Oh, here's a nice place. There's already a stroke here, and it's slightly purple, so I just made it more purple. One of the things I discovered on this painting is that I've had fun wherever these abstract marks are. I've had fun taking a pencil, usually two pencils in one hand, like this, so that they're a certain distance apart, and tracing or outlining, sort of, not perfectly as you can see, but giving more weight to the abstract strokes by outlining them to a degree. Then usually I come back and add paint to those pencil marks. But again, I don't need to decide all of that right now. I still have a couple layers to go. I just saw something I think would be kind of fun. If this red, can you see where I am? Where this red stripe comes down out of the blue sky and hits the top of this building. Now I've made that red stripe fade to purple right before it hits the building. That's kind of fun. Just for fun, just looking for excuses. Excuses. Looking for excuses to arbitrarily slap some color. That's really a good description of what I'm doing. I'm just looking for an excuse to put more color in this painting. See, given the choice, our eyes, I like to say it in sort of a strange way, given the choice, our eyes prefer yes color to no color. Now, I am at the front of the pack of valuing, loving, being intrigued and attracted to very muted, gray, brown, sepia, moody paintings. Man, I'm all over that. I really am. And in fact, I probably tend that way more than I should economically, because I think I'm in the minority. I think the general public does not like moody, kind of gloomy, melancholy paintings as much as I like painting them. Having said that, however, So I'm pretty attracted to that kind of stuff. Narrow tonal range. Now, by the way, I am not attracted to narrow value range. Some people are. I don't get that. I mean, no, that's not me at all. But anyway, but here's a principle, a truism, I believe, is that all things being equal, which of course they rarely are, but all things being equal, our eyes prefer to see more color, not less color. So unless you have a real good reason for doing, like I think I do often, a muted, moody, subdued, tonal painting, which I love probably more than I ought to, as far as just making money is concerned. But just do remember, generally speaking, do people's eyes, are they drawn to yes color or no color? I like putting it in that weird way. The answer is yes color. In my opinion, there is no question about which are we drawn to. So again, unless there's some mitigating factor, like the factor is, oh no, I want to do a moody painting, I'm all over that. But unless that's the objective, most of the time you and I should be putting more color in our paintings, not less. Again, that's a very broad rule with lots of exceptions to that rule, but I think it's worth noting. Our eyes are attracted to color. Our eyes never get tired of seeing. Our ears never get tired of hearing. That is not the problem we face in old age. It's not too much seeing or too much hearing. No, it's losing both is more common struggle we face in old age, eh? So make the best of it while you got it. Okay, I've played enough now with purple. Let's just be arbitrary. I've done green. I haven't done blue since I started this broadcast. I've done orangish, yellowish, pink. And I haven't done red per se. Yeah, I want to do red. Again, a little bit unusual for me to mix up, or not mix up as the case may be, pick up some really intense red. But I know that my painting could probably benefit here and there. And I'm thinking mostly in the abstract realm. I have a bunch of red in the tail lights here. By the way, if you were watching me yesterday, I did redo those tail lights today. I just glazed more red over them and then did that lighter trick as I move toward the center. Lots of good comments, you guys. I appreciate it. I hope you're not leaving me before I get to those. All right, I'm going to start out just picking up a pure Scarlet Lake. I say that, and then I discover I don't have enough of it on my palette. So bear with me for just a minute. Okay, never mind. Don't bear with me. I'm gonna mix the Scarlet Lake with an orange. It is Winsor Newton Orange Windsor. Good grief. I'm gonna add just a tiny bit of Naples yellow to that to make it more opaque. So I've got pretty much screaming fire engine red on my brushes. Woo! So this will be a bit of an adventure. First of all, I see an abstract stroke right here. So I just put intense red on there, but it was, the brush was not you know, I dragged it across the painting. It didn't leave much there. Ooh, here's a, okay, I'm changing color already. I just added some permanent rose to this mix. So now it's much more intense because between, right on the edge of this building, a little bit of my original underpainting is showing through. And the original underpainting evidently was red on this building. I can almost remember outlining this building in red, dark red. And I have just re-accentuated. Can I use that word? Can I say? Oh, that looked nice. Here, let me zoom in just for a second. So I just added red there and there, there and there. And it's having very much the effect that I envy, so to speak, whenever I see someone who's done a traditional vermilion toned canvas. Now, some of you may not know what I'm talking about, so let me just describe it. There's a whole tradition of painting on a canvas that you've painted bright red. Again, I think the traditional is for some reason vermilion. I don't know why, but that's that. And most painting students at some point in their painting career, they take a class from somebody who teaches them to paint on a toned canvas. And I guess I would say I think everybody should go through that phase. And some of you should stay there. I don't mean that it's a bad place to stay. But I think if you want to be a painter that understands painting, you should go through your red toned canvas stage. Like let's pretend that you were taking a real serious college painting course, a whole bunch of like semester. One of your semesters should be painting on a toned canvas, red canvas. All right. Anyway, and let me finish that thought, because every time I see one of these, so it's not an unusual technique at all. You know, you see one in every art show, so to speak. And I like it. I like it very much. I don't do it because, generally speaking, for the last 15 years, I've done what I call a super toned canvas, which is my acrylics are multiple colors underneath my oil, not just one. But be that as may, I still like the red tone canvas. I'm saying all that to say this, that for you students, or for whether you've tried it already or whether you're about to try it, I have one size fits all criticism of what you're about to do. So I'm hoping that my warning or instruction will help you. Almost without fail. I have never seen an exception. There probably is one somewhere in the infinite cosmos, but I have never seen it. Without exception, the student painter covers up too much of the red tone. Okay? Now, that's not the end of the world. First of all, if you do another one and do another red tone canvas painting and don't cover up as much. There you go. But also, in addition to that, one of the key tricks, red canvas, wall to wall, red. Do a picture, let a lot of the red show through. But plus and also, in addition to that, when you're all done, you do what I'm doing right here, which is mix up another batch of super bright red and reintroduce the red on top. Now, let me, since I've gotten this far, let me just repeat myself. If you're a student, there's about a 97% chance that with your first red tone canvas, you're going to cover up too much. It's because you keep on changing your mind and fixing, so you have layers and layers and layers of paint, all of which obliterates your earlier beautiful red tones that were peeking through and are no longer. But whether you do that or not, one of the tricks, one of the ways to fix that is to follow up at the last thing, so to speak. The last thing you do with your painting is what I did right there, which is come back and give assistance, if you will, aid, support, aid and abet the red underpainting by adding red on top. So I've just done a whole bunch of red all over the place. Before I finish, I'm going to go all the way to the top. And I don't think you guys can see that high, so let me move you briefly. And with this bright red, I think, I'm going to lighten it a little bit. Now, if you don't know this, you will know this. If you have red paint, like Cad red, Scarlet Lake, Naphthol crimson, red on your palette, and you add white to it, you will not get light red, so to speak. You will get what I call typically a sickly bubblegum pink. Okay. Now, if you have permanent rose on your palette and you add white to that, you will get a beautiful hot pink, not sickly bubblegum pink, but a beautiful intense red, magenta red. So if you have what I mentioned the first time, if you have real red, Cad red medium, Scarlet Lake, Naphthol crimson, not alizarin crimson, no. If you have a real red on your palette and you add white to it, you'll get pink. So what you do to mitigate against that, unless it is in fact, yes, bubblegum pink is what you want, but most of the time it's not. You're thinking, I want a light red. Then you have to add yellow to it. And the best yellow to add to it, honestly, is Indian yellow, not Cad yellow light. Indian yellow to shift your, and that's just what I did to this paint right here, is I wanted a light red, but I didn't want a magenta-ish. Everything I'm describing now has to do with the magic, if you will, of transparent colors. The rules for transparent colors are quite different from the rules for opaque color mixing. Okay, so that's just what I just gave you, was some of those rules. To put it more bluntly, in the world of transparency, there is no such thing as a transparent red. What do you mean? There's no, right? If you take, again, Naphthol crimson, cadmium red medium, a red, fire engine red color, Scarlet Lake. If you take one of those colors and you add a medium to it, like liquid, to make it transparent, again, you will not get a pleasant transparent red. You'll get a thin, what's the word I'm looking for? Sickly. That's the word I keep using. You'll get a sick, in this case, not even a bubblegum pink. Just so, but if you want it transparent red, you use a magenta or permanent rose, which is that's in my hand there. And for some reason, I'm not finding my Scarlet Lake. I won't waste more of your time looking for it, but I did find my Naphthol crimson, so that's good. Naphthol crimson is a dark, cool red. Cool means tending toward purple. It's not as cool as permanent rose. Now just a little bit of proof or evidence, if you will. The 4-color printing process, brochures and magazines and everything that's printed red, the 4 colors are CMYK, right? Cyan, blue, magenta. So they don't use red. They use magenta, which is very close to, well, is in some brands, is permanent rose. I better stop talking for a minute, and in fact, if you don't mind, I'm going to sit down and move you guys so you see the bottom of the painting instead of the top. I might be done for the day. I certainly have had a lot of fun, and it ain't over yet. Oh, I know. I see this area right here, and I've got almost the right color already mixed up. A pale, warm red. I want to emphasize, reinforce these abstract marks down here. You know, it's funny. Well, I guess it's to be expected. The last painting I did, which was this also a 6x6 foot painting of the same street looking the other direction, I also had big red abstract marks in the street that ended up quite prominent in the finished painting and quite pleasant, I think. And I was going to say, I think, isn't it funny that I'm ending up with red abstracts in both paintings? Then I realized, oh no, that's not funny. Because the reason I put red down here is because I thought that this street down here in this painting, I thought it was going to be a cool, a bluish gray color. Now in my last painting, it was in fact a bluish gray color. That's why. So so the red was appropriate. In this painting, it turns out my foreground, and I'm not going to change it. I like it. It's going to stay this color. But the foreground street has ended up mostly warm tones. Very light over here, a bunch of green here. Anyway, I'm sorry. I'm just rambling because I was thinking, oh, isn't that funny? I've got red streaks in both streets. Red streaks in both streets. Hard to tell what I'm saying sometimes. We call them street streaks. Yes, we do. We do. You know you're in trouble when you start coming up with names for things. You're taking yourself too seriously, kind of trouble. Ooh, that's nice. Every once in a while, a stroke gets put down on the canvas that you sort of didn't do on purpose. You really didn't see it coming, but it just works really well. Like this one right here. This doesn't make any sense logically, even in this world where why does it all of a sudden red, 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 and all of a sudden light pink red and then fade out? I don't know. I have no idea. I have no idea what that means. But dang, does it look good. And again, that's not me bragging. That's me going, wow, how'd that happen? It does. It just looks good. I wish every stroke of mine did that. You know, took on a magic. Okay, one thing I know I'm gonna do, and then probably I'll read your comments and get out of here, at least for the day. A bunch of stuff down here needs to be slightly lighter, paler lighter than it is. So once again, I'm going to clean up my palette, wasting more paint, but I'd waste more time trying to save it and rescue it. Some of you, one of the solutions to a glass palette is to, every time you finish painting, is to scrape up all the unused paint off your palette and mix it all together and put it in a clean tube. The name for that color, it has a name. It's called Torrid Gray. Well, that's a great idea, but I discovered after not too many days of painting that I had a lifetime supply of Torrid Gray in my painting drawer, and I think I have yet to use any of it, and it's probably 10 years old by now. So, nah, that didn't work very well. I'm the proud owner of several tubes of Torrid Gray, and that's literally the name of taking all the paints on your palette and mixing them up, all the colors and mixing them up. All right, so I've got not white, but a dirty, mostly warm-ish white on my brushes. And again, I'm painting now pretty much purely abstract. In fact, I'm going to take my glasses off. This right here, this is a row of traffic cones, you know, things to keep cars from smashing into the sidewalk. They're little sculptures. They're made out of, I don't know, stainless steel, and they have little oak leaves on them. But anyway, that's what those are. That's not abstract. That's literal part of the landscape here. And there are a whole bunch of pedestrian crossing lines going across the street here. This part of the street is actually super wide, wider than the rest of the street, and it's called the Plaza. So it's like maybe 8 lanes wide if you counted them all up. They don't allow 8 lanes to drive on. I don't mean that, but anyway, it's called the Plaza. It's the very, very epicenter of our city, if you will, is the Plaza. So when they have festivals, which they do very often, when they have festivals in downtown Raleigh, you know, the biggest stage, either the only stage or the largest stage, is always in this general area. All right, I'm gonna put my glasses back on. Oh, there is one thing I want to do. I'm sorry, before I go. This is the proverbial, you know, preacher. Just one more point. 16 points later, just one more point. That's what I'm doing right now. This middle stripe up here, which is quite a dark red, I want to change that into sickly bubblegum pink. Hopefully not sickly, but definitely, actually it's not, because I'm using permanent rose. So it's actually, yes, there's a name for this color. I would think it's called a pale or a light hot pink. Hot pink is a cool, that is purplish pink color. I can go even lighter than that. Wow. I like this color so much, I'm going to add some of it to this lavender stripe right here. The whole time that I'm painting on these stripes, not being careful not to cover them so heavily, I would like it to be apparent that the stripes are underneath, or originally are underneath the blue, which they actually were, of course. Well, that was a bit too much of a good thing. Let me look around just for a minute and see where I can put some very pale hot pink. I'm thinking in terms of broken color here mostly now. I think that one of the things I'm likely to do tomorrow, after I glaze this whole painting with various colors, any color I want, I can do any color I want. I'm a little nervous or uncomfortable. It's almost as if the painting, the realism, and even the abstracts are just a little bit too tight. That is one of the things I feel like I accomplished very well in my first experiment in this regard, in this direction, is that my painting itself exhibited a lot of really nice looseness, and don't feel like I quite have that much in this one. So I may do what I call the fake John Singer Sargent looseness, which means you, like me, we want to paint like John Singer Sargent, don't we? You're an idiot if you don't want to paint like John Singer Sargent. If Mephistopheles shows up in my bedroom and says, if you sell me your soul, you can paint like John Singer Sargent. Well, I'd say hell no, but but I'd scratch my chin and think about it for a minute. So the John Singer Sargent trick, it's my name for it, is adding, so to speak, adding artificial loose strokes on top of a tighter painting underneath. It's a trick employed specifically in the realm of portraiture. It took me a long time to get that word out, didn't it? Woo! Sometimes my talking brain and my painting brain are fighting for the same brain cells. So anyway, we'll see. I might do that. I'm quite happy with the painting as it is right now, but I have a feeling I'll be quite a bit happier with it after my next glaze, and then whatever comes after the glaze. And right now I'm doing broken color with pink, more bubblegum pink. Or more precisely, very pale, hot pink. And I'm entertaining myself, so, you know, don't bug me. I'm having fun, leave me alone. Whoops. Too much fun on that stroke. There we go. Fixed it. All right, I better quit because I'm in danger of just overdoing it. Horatio, my friend, aka Uncle 60. Thank you so much. My friend Uncle 60 keeps showing you guys how you're supposed to use Super Chat and give me $2 for this free art lesson. Thank you very much for Argentine tea. Deal. Okay, let me back up. There's a whole bunch I missed. Hello, young man. Thank you. What's easier, large or small canvases? Certainly small canvases are faster. Large are more difficult, but large are more fun to me because you get to move your body. So that's my answer. it is almost finished, Michael, and I don't know if you guys are still with me or not, but it is very close to finished. But I hope you can see that. Well, let me move this down so you can see more of it while I sit here and talk to you. Blank Canvas Painter. By the way, Blank Canvas Painter, thank you for your nice email. You sent me off scurrying on assignment. How can people contribute? Well, one way is if you catch me live, then you can do the super chat the way Uncle 60 has been doing. That's one way that you can give me a contribution. Thank you so much for asking. And I'm working on other things as well. Hi, Susan. Yes, it is rain, thunder rain. Although it never rained here. That's funny. We got the thunder and the lightning, but no rain. Susan, look how much abstract you have there. I like most of it. Just not the bottom left side right now. I'm glad you said that. Thank you for sharing that with me. So you don't care for this corner. Well, I'm not sure I do either. I think I do. I'm going to save it for more. The easiest thing would be tomorrow when I glaze it would be to vignette this corner and make it go dark the way I do most of the time. But there was somebody else, Susan, who said they particularly liked this, especially the drippy stuff down here. So we'll see. I think I like it, but I could be dissuaded. If anybody else wants to weigh in on that, how do you like this corner? Please join Susan in letting me know what you think. And oh, Uncle Sig, you mean the drips? And Susan says, I think the blue prints darkness, blurry look. Okay, good. Thank you for your discussion, you guys. Uncle 60, I do have a kids. Jerry's Artorama 10 years ago produced a video. I'm trying to remember the name of it. Leonardo da Vinci for kids. I'm sorry. Anyway, look, my name, Jerry's Artorama video, Nardo, short for Leonardo. That should find it. If you have any kids on your Christmas list, they'd enjoy that. Susan back. The building in the left almost looks like I see through in the building behind it. Reminds me of the famous New York scene with that angled building in the middle of the street. Oh, good. Thanks. I'll take that. I'll take that. Thank you. Susan, about your colorblind husband, and you have to fix it. That's cute. Hey, Dan, take a photo of the painting that was the street scene that you did the aluminum study for. Name it so I can call it by name. Thank you. The big painting is called, of that scene, I've called it American Intersection. So the small painting is a study for American Intersection, unless I come up with a better title. But study for American Intersection. And it's still laying around here somewhere. Good for you guys. Uncle 60's doing a train. Good for you. Susan says if you go into knowing that you will do many layers and then have many more transparent layers, you will do well. Yay. Good for you. I like it when you guys talk to each other. Thinker888, good to hear from you. Hi, Dan. Glad I caught you. The impression the emphasized abstract gives me is one of an exciting, ubiquitous fireworks display. Yeah, very much in keeping with your character. Oh, good. Thank you. I'd take that. I appreciate that. Good. Susan painting doorways. Uncle 60 again. Thank you for that mate Argentine tea. We may have some already in the kitchen. I'll have to check. We have a lot of teas in there. Karen, good to hear from you. It looks like psychedelic chemtrails made by pilots on psychedelics. Okay, so I was describing the last painting I did. I was describing it to my 2, 4, 6, 8-year-old grandchildren, and they're saying, "What are they?" And at one point, I said, "They're angel trails." Now, frankly, between you and me, I kind of like that idea. I don't know if that would fly in the public square, but anyway, that surprised me how easily that came out. Is the car on the far right, bottom right, moving or parked? It's moving. And Susan, if you're still with us, let me zoom in on that corner that you're concerned about. So what's actually happening is this is a planter, like a curb. This is a white painted stripe along the side of the road. These are those, traffic posts. Here's a couple pedestrians. Oh, I need to put color on them. I'll do that later. Those are, some flesh tone and some clothing color. This is just all sidewalk. And here is one of these big tall things. So anyway, yeah, I don't really expect you to be able to figure that out necessarily by looking at it. And you're right, that might drive people crazy. Mom, Tana's mom. Tana's making me think again. Oh boy. Not people, like, pretty sure they're far left abstract marks. But yeah, okay, no, those are people. And I need to put color on them. I just forgot to do that. So I'll do that tomorrow. Unless I do it before I quit today. Thank you. Uncle 60 is encouraging you guys to hit the what do you call it? Super chat button. Makes your heart feel better. I'd appreciate that. You guys are, these are still 10-minute-old comments. Susan, I would send them money through PayPal if I had an email address because they only have 3%, not 30%. Thanks, Michael. Yeah, it is on my website. There, now you can see those are pedestrians. Okay, tell you what, since we've talked so much about those figures down there, sure, I'll finish them before we go away. Then, hang on. This should be the last thing I do here today. So I'm gonna put some blue clothing on them. There's actually maybe some people over there and there and there, and some people way over there. I forgot to color all my people. Now let's do a pale or something. And then real quick, a flesh tone. I can clean all this up, of course, tomorrow if I so choose. There. That'll look a little more. Let's put shorts on this person. That head is a little big. Well, I'll show you how I do that right now then, since I just mentioned it. So I'm going to try to mix up a color that is the color of this area back here. And then simply, yeah, that's pretty close. And then carve the head down. Do you see how I did that? All right, that's enough. Thanks, guys. Enjoyed your company very much. I appreciate it. And I hope to be... Well, thank you, Susan. That's very kind of you. Thank you. I appreciate that very much, and appreciate all of your company. The rest of you, if you want, when you're watching this later, of course, if you please leave a chat. Although I'm behind on responding to all of my chats, it's just I'll catch up and at least give you a thumbs up or a like for your good comments. Yeah, interesting, huh? Interesting, brave new world I've entered here. You guys are watching it, front row seat. All right, thanks. Bye-bye.